one more Joey to hand out. The prestigious fight of the year.
Oh my goodness. The 10th and final already? No, I just want to restart with you already. Well, I'm doing it. The nominees, Noah, there's 5. And damn it, every single one of them could have won. But here we go. Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. Obviously, everyone. Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez had a late one in November to add on. Alexander Volkanovsky versus Brian Ortega, the battle of International Fight Week. Petr Yan versus Cory Sandhagen for the interim strap. And Marvin Vettori versus Paulo Costa. Didn't see that one coming when the fight was booked. Noah, all 5 of these are super deserving. All 5 of these could take the prestigious Fight of the Year award, but there can only be one. Give me your thoughts before we get right into the winner.
The biggest one, and this was something I was worried about all year, when we got kind of past the summer, I was looking at all my, because like I said, I kept track of kind of my award nominations, all year. Who did I think was going to be up there? Fight of the Year was a hard one. It was a great year, but it was like, as far as those hard-hitting fights, those fights that really stick out as like an all-timer,
Yeah.
felt like we hadn't really got that, 2/4 of the way through the year, 3/4 of the way through the year. But then from basically midway through September on, it
They just
was
kept turning.
every week for the UFC. And, obviously no Bellator or PFL on here. The UFC just has the benefit of having so many more events.
Yeah.
And literally, I don't know if there was an event that I would say you could skip from basically UFC 266 till the end of the year.
I love that you pointed that out, being that literally all 5 of these were from September 25th to now. Like the last quarter of the year, all 5 of these nominees came. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, 3 or 4 of them came back to back to back to back weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the outlier here is Volkanovski Ortega being in September. I think because Yan or Vettori Costa was the week before 267.
Yep,
then
true.
Yan Sandhagen was 267. 268 had Gaichy Chandler. Holloway Rodriguez was the week after that. That's like I said at that time, I said that was my favorite month. If you go 30 days, that was my favorite 4-week calendar month to cover since we've done this podcast.
That's not even comparable.
All the cards lived up, all the fights lived up.
Yeah.
But Dominic, there could only be one to rule them all.
And this was one where we did differ, but we did come to terms, and it helps when all 5 are just so amazing.
You know what's really funny is we differed, but neither of our top pick won.
That is true. Wow. Look at that, how we go about getting our winners on this show.
Yeah, we didn't flip a coin on this one because I think it was kind of like, basically this was both of our second choice, and we felt very strongly that it could also be the winner. So we're like, okay, we'll just go with that
the
one.
order in which we had our 5 was really different, but this was the one that was that consistent number 2 spot, which means it takes number 1 overall. The 10th and final Joey of the 2021 awards. The Fight of the Year goes to... Look at all this anticipation. Look at it. Look at it. Can you feel it? Can you feel the tension? Anyways, Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. Damn it, it was only 3 rounds, but woo-wee, they delivered. The only 3-round fight out of the 5.
Very true. And so often, when you watch a 3-round fight, yep, there you go. So often when you watch a 3-round fight, that's amazing. You go, man, I wish that was 5.
Yeah.
But here, I felt like they literally had nothing left to give.
Nothing left.
It's kind of like how I wish Capoloza D'Elia was a 3-round fight, the second one.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that fight was perfect as 3 rounds, Gaethje Chandler, that is, because, it was obvious that Chandler had wore the damage more than Gaethje was at that point. And
spitting out blood. I'll never forget that.
But this fight was, I think, the front runner for most people. Again, a lot of tough competition here, but I feel like this was the one that would, if there was a poll on the UFC's Twitter account, which I'm sure they'll do, it'll probably be the winner of the poll.
Yeah.
I would say. But so in a way it's like, oh, we're picking like an obvious choice, but man, we both differed big on this category this
Yeah.
year.
Is it worth? Maybe I
Yeah.
think we
So
let
who
them
was
know.
go ahead with your winner?
Personally, for me, one of my favorite, or my favorite fight of the year, one of my favorites in recent memory that I've gotten to watch in terms of just the highest level of mixed martial arts, man, was that interim title fight at UFC 267. Petr Yan, Cory Sandhagen, 5 rounds, nonstop pacing, back and forth, where really 2 or 3 big moments were the deciding factor in that fight for Petr Yan, because outside of those, Sandhagen was dishing out just as much damage, just the highest level of MMA. That's what we titled it when we recapped the fight, and that's why that one really took the cake for me this year.
That's a good way to talk about it. Is like there was just those few moments that
Yeah.
just like were enough to secure a round because it was just
Yes.
so dead even the whole time.
Yeah.
Had you on the edge of your seat, white knuckling the
Hmm.
chair, just like,
I'm
oh
doing
my
it
god,
right
what's
now
gonna
in my
happen?
chair. Yeah.
So you went. When you had like your winner in mind, a lot of it was based off like the highest level of MMA that you
Yes.
saw in 2021.
Yes.
My winning pick, at least my favorite fight of the year, one that probably going to be the most under the radar of the 5, and that's Alexander Volkanovsky versus Brian Ortega.
Man.
For me, it's the story of that fight. That
Yep.
fight told a 25-minute epic.
Yeah. It was.
It's the most one-sided of the 5 fights.
Yeah.
You see champion Volkanovski clearly getting the upper hand, and then round 3 happens.
That round of the year. I mean,
Round of the year.
let's be
That
honest.
and
That's one
Prohaska
of the best
Reyes.
rounds I've. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, round of the year. And I mean, you have basically this champion, this dominant champion in Volkanovski, who looked like for 2.25 rounds, that he was gonna really dominate his way to another title defense. And for Brian Ortega to dig deep and get not one but 2
Yeah.
tight submissions in,
At that
looked like
guillotine.
both
Ooh.
of them looked like it was over. Ortega, the jiu-jitsu specialist,
Yeah.
and for Volkanovski, who is again, it's almost like the story, man. I need to write like a paper about this fight because it's like David and Goliath,
Yeah.
but yet somehow in round 3 you almost start to feel something for Goliath
Yeah.
as he's like almost being choked out and he's able to fight out of it. You're like, wait a minute, I thought he was the big bad guy, and now all of a sudden I'm kind of rooting for him. And what's going
There
on
was so
here?
what's cool about this fight is that there was, as a viewer and the media, podcasting, all that stuff, the emotion that I felt watching that was second to none this year. Where like I
Mhm.
love Ortega. I have grown to really love Volkanovski. He was one of the most underappreciated guys in the UFC until that fight, and that fight really catapulted him, I felt like. But that plays into that emotional factor as well, and the fact that Brian's getting beat down, but then almost pulls it out. Then Volkanovski bounces back, beats him down in round 4. Then round 5, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Ortega won that 5th round. It was a
Yeah,
3-2 for Volkanovski. So it is definitely an amazing fight. And
yeah,
that round 3 was crazy.
yeah. So I mean, all in all, though, we meet in the middle and come to Gaethje versus Chandler, which dare I say, the best 3-round fight of all time.
Oh, it's up there, man. It's up there.
So I mean, what a compromise.
Yeah.
So it's like we compromised, but it was kind of like we had a 1A and a 1B.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
like both of our 1Bs. So it was still one that we felt very strongly about as a winner, but it was just very interesting how we had to kind of meet in the
Come to
middle
it. Yeah.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a year it was, 2021, Dominic.